afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Andy, and I'm here to talk to you this morning or afternoon. I just said afternoon, huh? I'm here to talk to you this afternoon about the top 3 recommended password managers. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know, but let me just recap. I am a member of several different informational technology computer people like me groups. So on the internet. So anyway, somebody polled the group and said, "What's your favorite password manager?" Now we had to make some exclusions and changes and stuff because some of us use stuff that only some of us are really allowed to use because we do remote control and management and all that kind of stuff. So I excluded those from our list, and I'm going to give you the top 3 recommended password managers. So what is a password manager, you might ask? Well, so you know when you go to a website and you enter a password and your browser pops up and says, "Would you like to save this password?" That's a password manager. Sometimes the browser handles it locally, as in within your device. Sometimes the browser manages it on a cloud for you. And then other times, you just have to think about it, remember it, and come up with passwords that you hope you can remember and nobody else will guess, right? So, let me tell you what, I'm going to do. Before we get into the password managers, I'm going to tell you some great password tips, some security tips, right? Before I do that, let me take my phone off the hook. Hold on just a second. I want to get some. Give me just a second, okay? Okay. That's what I'm going to do. Hold on. Because just as quick as I don't do this, somebody's going to say, "I need to call Andy." And I've had a million calls already this morning, and I don't want to do that. So, all right, before we go anywhere else, let me move this one over here. Nope. I got a bunch of windows on my desktops and screens and everything. All right, so password security. A great password is at least 8 characters long. And I'm going to say 10 to 12, really. And it has at least an uppercase letter, a lowercase letter, a number, and a symbol. At least one of each of those, right? Now, I would recommend that it's also not a dictionary word. And of course, it can't be your dog, it can't be your cat, it can't be your son or your kids or nicknames, or it can't, if you call your husband Pookie Bear, you don't want to put Pookie Bear as your password. Okay. Now you can do all kinds of other things like replacements. So example, if you have an S, then you could use a $ or something like that. But, so that's a great password. At least 8, preferably 10 or 12 characters long, an uppercase, a lowercase, a number, and a symbol. And maybe next week we'll talk about password complexity and why is that better than a shorter password, all that kind of stuff. Maybe I'll talk about that next week on Tuesday. So let's get to that. All right. So I'm going to give you the top 3 password managers. Now, here's some good news about these password managers. A lot of them, in fact, these top 3 are cloud-based. The good news is they are encrypted from the time they leave your device or your computer to the cloud where they're stored, and then when they come back to you, your device decrypts them with several different types of encryption. So they're pretty much secure as long as there's nothing foolproof. But if you're doing the right thing, and that means that you need to have a different password for all of your bank accounts. And some of you guys have 17 bank accounts between your bank and then your savings and your investment and all that different stuff. You should have different passwords for all of those, as well as you should have a different password for your email account and your Facebook account and your Twitter account. Everything should be a different password, right? And like I said before, it shouldn't be your dog's name or your kids' birthdays or your wedding anniversary or anything like that. And please don't make it password 123. All right. So here we go. Let me switch the screen, and I'm going to show you the top 3 password managers as recommended by people like me. All right, coming in at number 3 is Keeper. Keeper is a great password security program. And I think there were 33 of us in the poll that responded to the poll. Actually, there were more than 33. Remember, I told you that I couldn't include the ones that were for remote management by people like me. I couldn't give you those. Also, I could not give you the smarty remarks like, does a yellow sticky note count? Or can I put it on the bottom of my keyboard? Does that count? So I didn't count all those remarks either. All right. So there were 33 people that actually answered with something that was usable for the common man or woman. Keeper was number 3. Just a minute. Let me tell you how many votes it got. Keeper got 5 votes. And then the other 2 were a little bit higher than that. So Keeper's a great one. You can just go to keepersecurity.com and download this and get the free trial and see if you like it. It's pretty neat how everything works. And then if you actually have the plugins with your browser, the way it works is when you go to a site that's requesting a password, your browser will pop up and automatically insert the password for you if you haven't enabled that. All right, Keeper was number 3. Number 2, of course, they are claiming themselves as number 1, but LastPass is a great, I know a lot of people that use LastPass. LastPass is a great password manager, and it's got a plug-in just as well. Like I said, you know, it'll plug into your browsers, and then it'll ask you, do you want to fill this password? And you click, for example, in this one, you would click on Facebook, and it would pre-fill it for you. And you can do all kinds of other stuff with a great password manager. For example, you see this is doing the same thing with your credit or debit card info. And then it's all good stuff. If you want to generate a password, LastPass will do that for you. Okay, so there's a free version, of course, and then there's a paid version. And you are set to go. A very nice interface that you can use. Look at there, it works with your Apple Watch if you use one of those. All right, LastPass was number 2, and it came with 7 of our votes. All right, so here comes the number 1, and I'm pretty proud of this. Bitwarden. Okay, so if you don't know what open source is, see where it says open source right here? Open source means that it is community developed, maybe community supported. In other words, it doesn't cost anything. And people like me, or a lot smarter than me, that are programmers and everything else. Oh my goodness, I don't have any lights on. How's that? Is that better? All right, so people like me from the community, from the information security community, have worked on this project. And it's a heck of a, and the price is right, it's a heck of a password manager. And some big names use Bitwarden. So that is the number 1, and it claimed the number 1 spot with 8 votes in the informal poll. Now, using a password security takes a lot of work in the initial phases of it, because however you've managed your passwords in the past, you're going to need to, some cases you can migrate, but in most cases you would want to redo the whole thing from scratch. And then as you use it, it will remember, the password managers will remember what you do, and then you can not have to enter passwords on those things again. Some of these offer multi-factor authentication, so you have to not only to sign into the password manager, enter a password, it will also either do a challenge where you either have to, it will text you and ask you, did you do it, and enter this code, or it will ask you to use something like Google Authenticator, where you open Google Authenticator and it tells you, Google Authenticator gives you a 6 or 10-digit key, however many it is, that you have to then enter into your password manager. There are several different ways for multi-factor authentication, and that makes it even more secure. Speaking of more secure, now I know a lot of us don't like to keep a lock on our phone, but please do. Because if you have one of these devices on your phone and you drop your phone and somebody can look at it and it's open, it's not locked, it's not using your face, it's not using your thumbprint or whatever, then they've got access to everything that you've got. And unless you have multi-factor authentication turned on, there's a good chance that they can get right into everything that you've got, whether you want them to or not. That's not a good thing. So please secure your phones and other devices. A lot of us have tablets that are doing the same thing, and they're all tied the same way. Okay, that's it for today. Listen, my goodness, It's been a crazy afternoon so far, and I'm just trying to take care of all the customers and keep them all happy. And so I've got to run because I've got just a few minutes to get to my next customer. Man, let me tell you, one of my customers had to move. Well, they moved from an office to a different office, and the internet wasn't quite there yet. So, and they're using Suddenlink, which is probably the best in Nacogdoches. But let me switch back to the big screen here. Sorry about that. So they are now using a hotspot for all of their office internet, and unfortunately, they run out of data. So they're having to change out SIM cards and everything. So I've got to run over there and help them with that real quick. And I want you to know, if you have any questions about your tech, if you have any questions about information security, by the way, let me plug that real quick. There is a group of us, tech people, security specialists. We've even had police and FBI come and talk to us, called DebtSec. And you can go to debtsec.org to find out all kinds of great info about security, especially just general good practices that you might want to do. Oh, that's good stuff. Anyway, so you can go to debtsec.org, and there's a whole bunch of us here in the Nacogdoches area that are community advocates for better security. And we are working on workshops or talks where, once COVID's over, that we'll come and talk to your group or your church or whatever about security and things like that. So go to debtsec.org for that. Also, if you have any questions about security or password managers, if you want the list of the rest of the password managers, then send me a message and I'll be happy to get it to you. In the meantime, I got to head out to my customer and help them get straightened out. And then while I'm there, we're going to take care of some other problems and hopefully get them on the fast track to getting fast internet with Suddenlink. All right, you guys be blessed. I am going to set you up with Look At You Now because it's a catchy tune, right? All right, be blessed, and I'll talk to you later. Have a fantastic afternoon. Bye-bye.
Didn't show up, but you showed them all anyhow. You wouldn't slow down, now you're too slow to push a plow. If you only got clear just a little longer, we'd still be here looking young and stronger. You could have had class, Charlie, but just a